Greetings comrades, habari zenyu ndugu zangu, mabibi na mabwana, madada na mababa, ama ndugu. Tunakaribisha tena kwa darasa letu la Kiswahili. We welcome you again for our Kiswahili classes that do take place every Tuesday from 7 p.m. GMT, from 6 p.m. GMT to, of course, it's 1 hour. It should be 6 to 7 p.m. GMT, or sometimes we make it 6 to 8 p.m. GMT. So last class, we learned about actually words that are related to animals, the names of animals, starting from the cow, the dog, the camel, which is umbwa, paka, kuku, kondoo, ngamia, farasi. So we did a lot of that in regards to animals. So today we will be going to those words that are related to the household or in the house, because we call them Msamiati, which are the vocabularies for the house, or vocabularies for things that are found within the house setup. Because we understand that the class before the last class, we were talking about vocabularies that are related to transport means. Because after traveling, we started from the school where we learned vocabularies of the teacher, the book, and the rest. Then we moved to transport, travelings, maybe the luggages, the mode of transport, like a plane is ndege, a ship is a meli, and then a vehicle is gari. So we did that vocabularies of traveling. Then we now went to animals, and we started with domestic animals, animals that can be found within the homestead, and animals that are in the forest, which you call them the wild animal. Wanyama pori and wanyama wa nyumbani. Wanyama pori are wild animal, then wanyama wa nyumbani are domestic animal. So as I've said, we learned around things like from paka to the rest. So today we'll proceed to learn on vocabularies that relates to the house. So we must understand that we'll start with the house. The differences between there's a house and a home. Mm-hmm. That should be a big difference. A house and a home. So we will start from there, where we have let me do my side screen chat. Yeah, we have a house, which is nyumba. Mm-hmm. Nyumba, it means a house. So when you say nyumba yangu, for example, you say nyumba yangu, it will mean you are my house, my house. So yangu is mine. You can say nyumba yako, which will means your house. So yako is yours. Or you can say nyumba yetu, which means our house. Mm-hmm. So that's very important for us to understand, not in terms of nyumba, which is the house, but you have now the home. Now home is where the word comes nyumbani, nyumba ni. Now this is home. Mm. So that's the difference between nyumba, which is a house, and nyumbani, which is home or homestead, is nyumbani. So in nyumbani, we can use words like either nyumbani kwangu, which means my home. Well, I have nyumbani, let me go back a bit. And then we'll have nyumbani kwetu, which means our home. Then we have nyumbani kwake, which is his or her home.
Kwasi will be for his or her.
Kwake.
Okay, it means his or her.
Yeah, you know, you can when you talk of in English, there is you sometimes define the gender before you say the home. So you can say his home or her home. But here we are not particularly pointing on the gender in terms of figurative pointing in Kiswahili. Swahili will be referring to that person's home. Not particularly
Would
that
it be
one.
their home?
No, their home is if there's so many people. You see, there's difference between her home and their home. Now, English tend to put the gender in terms of describing the person whose home belongs to. But Swahili will be general without saying, because gender is, in Swahili, gender is not much used like him is, you know, we use the word yeye. The word yeye, which means him or her, Swahili do not have clear words to mean yeye for a woman or yeye for a man, you see? So Swahili will just use the word yeye without the word yeye meaning either it's a yeye for a man or a yeye for a woman. There's no difference. But you know, in English, the word him, when the word him is used, you know that's for a man. And the word her used, you know we are referring to a woman, you see?
Yeah.
A man in Swahili is called mwanaume. Mwanaume. That's a man.
Mwanaume.
Mwanaume. To use mwana. You can use mwanamume or you can use mwanamume or mwanaume without M. But the most used one is one without M, which is mwanaume. That's a man. Then a woman is mwanamke.
Mwanamke.
That's a woman. So you see, now Swahili English has words that you can use instead of the word mwanaume. Instead of a man, you can use him. You see, English has that. So when you refer to somebody as him, you know that's a man. You see, when you refer to somebody refer to somebody like her, you know that's a woman. You see.
Yeah.
But Kiswahili doesn't have that. So Kiswahili don't have an alternative of gender description as a him or a her. You see? So when Swahili doesn't have that description of him or her, so you see, when it refers to the possession of the home, ownership of the home, it will not go directly to define that the home belongs to a woman or a man. You see? It will use the word kwake, which means his home. So this kwake in Swahili is a general possessive word for the person who possesses the house. So the person can be maybe a woman. Like, you know, in English, they will say his house or her house, you see? But here, when you talk of his, in terms of the position of the person you're referring to, it means the person you're pointing to or the person the house belongs to is not somebody close to you, it's somebody at a distance. So you are pointing the person, his house, you see? He. Yeah. Which means the person you're referring to is not that close, but it's a bit distant. So you talk of his house. At this particular moment, you're using the word his, you've already defined the gender of the person, you see? Because somebody will know by saying his house, it means already you're referring that house belongs to a man. And that man is the man you are pointing to. Is that right?
Yeah.
But now, in Kiswahili, they won't put the gender, they don't have the gender alternative of the word his or her. So they can't say nyumbani ya mwanaume or nyumbani ya mwanamuke, you see? So they will say nyumbani kwake, which means that is his or her home. So he will just use the word kwake as a general word to refer to either a woman or a man. But here is in terms of the operation of the property. That's why when you use the word like kwangu, like not kwangu, yeah, like kwangu, you see like kwangu is my. So my do not actually mean that thing. You don't have to come with you don't have to define the gender. It's my house. Now kwetu is our home or is our home. So in this hour also there's no clear definition of a gender that this hour is a man and a woman. You see, hour can be just even two women or two young ladies saying that house is their house. You see, so they'll say this is our house. At the extent of using the word hour, we don't particularly mean that hour is a mix of a man and a woman. Hour can be both men or both women. You see, both you ladies, young ladies, young boys, you see, they can still say our home, you see. And therefore, at the use of the word our here does not clearly indicate that the people who refer to themselves as our is either man and a woman, or is both female, you see. Now, this word our is always used here is the same way Swahili now will use the same words like kwetu or kwake without clearly coming to point the gender, because the Swahili, as I've said, do not have an alternative short namings for gender. So they'll just say kwake. So when you say kwake, now when I'm pointing to this person in terms of now the actual practice of referring to the person, so when I say Nyumbani kwake, which means I'm saying his house, so the person I'll be pointing to, now you can figure the gender, because if I'm pointing to a man, you know there's a man's house. If I'm pointing to a woman, you know I'm referring to the woman's house.
Okay.
We together up to that extent. So that's why I'm saying Kiswahili doesn't have an alternative like the word his or
Yeah.
yeah, but it only refers to a man as a mwanaume and a woman as a mwanamke. So you cannot go to the next man to say that house belongs to a woman. You see, if you have to say that house belongs to a woman, then we say hiyo nyumba ni ya mwanamke. You see, when you have to use the word like, for example, that house belongs. No, that's not that house. That home. Let's see the word that home. So that home belongs to a woman. Yeah, now so he will put it like that. For the word that, the Swahili word will be hiyo. That. The word hiyo no is that. Well, if it is this home, the Swahili will use the word he to mean this. Well, the word hiyo will mean that. So we'll say, for example, this one, that home belongs to a woman. So it will be hiyo nyumba hiyo nyumba
belongs
ni ya mwanamke. So see, they bring now the mwanamke word here, the woman word here. But you can, in English, you cannot just, it's not a must you say that home belongs to a woman. You can easily say that's her home or that's her house, you see, without saying that home or that house belongs to a woman. You just say that is her home or that is her house. When you're saying that is her house, we know the person you're referring to, even without saying the person is a woman, you see. But in Swahili, you will not know the gender of the person until you see the person who is being pointed to or the person referred to. You see? So I will be saying that is her, that is Apple. I'll say hiyo nyumba ni yake, or hapo ni nyumbani kwake, nyumbani kwake. Now, when I say nyumbani kwake, you'll have to know who am I pointing at, either a woman or a male or a female. Or if I was using, for example, I was talking about using their names. Maybe I was talking about James. James is a good man. That home belongs to James. So in Swahili it will be James ni mtu mzuri. Hiyo nyumba ni kwake. When I use the word kwake, I'll always be referring back to kwake is the James. So you can easily know the gender of the person I'm referring to by saying the word kwake, because I was referring to the word James, the person called James. So you can guess the gender. So there's no that clear distinction on Swahili having another alternative for gender apart from a man or a woman.
So does Nia mean belongs to? Belongs to.
Yeah, ni means it. Ya now belongs. Yangu. So when I use the word yangu here is my, you see?
Okay.
My,
so
ya.
Me,
Ya.
ya is.
Now ya is mine. So ni ya mwanamuke. Ni ya mwanamuke, which means it is for, or it belongs to the woman. So the word niya is what represents the word belongs to. Niya belongs to. But the key intention here was to point you out the key differences between the nyumba and nyumbani as a startup. The nyumba, as I've said, is a house. Nyumbani is
a
home or homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your homestead or your home is called nyumbani. So I'll tell you karibu nyumbani, welcome home. Somebody will tell you karibu nyumbani. Karibu is welcome, nyumbani. So karibu nyumbani, welcome home. You see?
Let's remember something again, brother Big Pin, that you add an I at the end to represent a place. A place. So nyumba is just a house, but nyumbani is at the house.
Yeah, as I've said, that's very clear. Thanks for pointing that. We'll always be using NI to sometimes refer to a place. For example, kitanda is a bed. Kitandani is at the bed.
Okay.
Barabara, when you use the word NI, let me give you such examples. Is pointing at specific places, like brother Coca said. We'll be using the word, like, for example, barabara. Bara, which we said is road. A road is called barabara, but the road will be barabarani. So when you use the ni, means at that place, you see? So you're at the house. So the house, that's why there's difference between the house, the house and the home. So home is the whole compound of, or the whole property. It's not but particularly the house, but the whole compound or whatever it is. That's your home, you see? So when you say home, you don't particularly refer to only the house. Of course, you are inside the house, but the home is a big extension of the property. You are in the right place of it. The house can be any pointing, that house, this house, whatever. But the home is now when you're in the same homestead or you're in that place. Now you call it, that's why you use the word ni. Like I've said, when you talk the word barabara and the word barabarani will be at the road. And you still have the word, for example, I was saying the word like kitanda, which means bed. But when you say kitandani, it means at the bed. So the ni will always move it to the specific location of the place. I think that's what you wanted to point out, Brother Coco, but thanks for pointing it out here.
Yes, thank you, brother. We talked about that with regards to water last time, if I remember. I think we said mai, then mayani is in the water.
Yeah, there was the word, not ma, it was the word maji. It's maji.
Okay.
Water. Well, majini, it means in the water, at the water. You're already in that water. We call it majini. Either in the water or at the water, whatever it will be. That means you're in the right location. So it refers to exact location of where somebody can be. For example, I don't know if you are trying to get the difference when the NI is used in, when you use NI in front or add the NI as the, not as the suffix, it should be the suffix, not the prefix, as the suffix. When you put the NI, it means at the exact place. So for example, chumba, the word we are seeing here, we have the word like chumba, which is a room, while chumbani is in the room. So chumbani means you're inside the room. Chumba, you're referring just to a room. Chumbani is inside the room. Are we together up to that? Anybody can?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're free to ask any question. Or maybe, Brother Coco, if you want to bring up something else, you can. Brother Coco?
So yes, brother. So the possessive pronoun, ya is a possessive pronoun. So of becomes ya in Bantu languages, and again, let's not forget, it comes after the object or the subject it describes. So nyumbani ya mwanamke, it means the house of a woman, the home of a woman. It's not, we don't have a woman's house. We cannot have that, because the way we write things, or we structure sentences, we put the subject first or the object first, and then whatever it does after.
Yes. I think that's very clear. So let's now start from all the vocabularies that are used or to refer to the house. So we've said the house, we've come up with the word nyumba. We've explained the difference between nyumba and nyumbani. So let's start. There's the first word, before you get into the house, you start with the door. So the door will be mlango. In Swahili is la, ngo.
Mlango.
Which is mlango.
Mlango.
That's the door. So you're getting into this house now. Imagine you're getting into the house. So the first place you go to is the door, which is mlango. In the door, you'll find so many things. You can either find a padlock, if the house is locked, which is kifuli, or some will call it kafuli. It's still acceptable. So it's kifuli or kafuli. Those are padlock. If you get the padlock, you have to open the padlock. So you'll have to use the key. So the key in Swahili is kifungu. So kifungu is key through. It always has some view as a kifungu. So kifungu is the key. So we are trying to get into their house. And I want to move it as we move like that so that we can be able to get everything else. So kifungu will be the key. But this house, it has some other features we can see from the outside. For example, it has the windows. Either the windows from the outside. So the windows or the window will be dirisha. D, re, sha. So we've come across the door and the windows. We've got at the door, there's a padlock, which is kifuli. So the padlock, once it's locked, we have to open the padlock. So we use the kifungu. So once you use the kifungu, which is the key, we open the door. So to open the door, In Swahili, we will say kufungua mlango. So kufungua is opening. The word kufungua means opening. Kufungua. So fungua is open. So we have the word here fungua, which means open. So once we have the key, we insert the key to the padlock. What we do basically is to open the door. Or we are opening the door. So what we are meaning is kufungua milango. So we are opening the door. Fungua milango. It's either milango or mlango, as I've said up here. It can either be mlango or milango. But the right word is sometimes mlango. You'll find some texts use the word milango, because as I've told you, there are some different or little dialects within the Swahili that keep it acceptable. So you'll find the word, sometimes they use the word milango, which means putting I before L, or you find them using, sometimes you use the word just mlango as it is. So we have opened the door. The first place we get to as you open the door in the house is the living room. That's the first place we get to. There's in so many structures of the houses. I don't think you can open the door and get straight to the bedroom. unless you use the back door. But if you use the front door, you get to the living room. So the living room, some people that can call sitting room, based on how you call it. Living room is what you call sebule or sebuleni.
Sebule.
Sebule. So you use sebuleni if you mean inside the living room. You use the word sebuleni. So you get the sebuleni or the sebule, which is the living room.
Sebule.
Sebule. It's called sebule, not sebule. Sebule.
Sebule.
Sebule.
Sebule. Can you try that? Can you try pronouncing that? Sebule.
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 Not really, brother. Brother Glory, you're bringing the wood lee. It's not a lee. It's a lay. I know the English effect is coming in again.
Sebule. Sebule.
Not C. Now you see, you're pronouncing S as T. With A, not E. It's A.
You pronounce it again.
Sebule.
Sebule.
Yes, that is it. Not sebule. It's a sebule.
Sebule.
So after you had said, if you want to mean at the living room or inside the living room, you say sebuleni.
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 Yeah. Then once you're there, what do you need? You'll get either sofa set or a seat. There'll be a seat somewhere. So the seat, the new word of sofa set comes in, but we refer to a seat. Because in the living room, you'll find a seat. The seat is kiti. Kiti. So kiti refer to any seat. So it can be either a sofa set, it can be a small seat, it can be a plastic seat. We call it just kiti. Not a seat. Once you get the seat, you will have to sit on that. Kitty, not with kitty. She's kitty.
Kitty.
Once you get a seat, what else do you see? A table. You have to come across a table in that living room. You get to a table. So the table, in this case, is mesa.
Mesa.
So that's a borrowed word from Portuguese or Spanish, mesa.
Yeah, some use mesa, but it's mesa. So there's mezani, mesa. Of course, you'll find some of them sometimes will use the word S instead of Z, but the red word is mesa. I know this boat more about the Brother Cook is saying from, of course, Portuguese a bit. But now the table is mesa. So we've come from the door, which is mlango. We found the padlock, which is kifuli. We've used the key, which is kifungu. Then you've opened the door, which is kufungua mlango. Then you go to a living room, which is sebuleni or sebule. We have actually now sat on the seat, and there's a table in front of us. Are you together up to that point?
So how do you sit? What is the verb of sitting down?
Or to sit means kuketi, to sit. To sit in Swahili will be ku, which is two. The word ku represents the word two. Then keti means sit. So you'll say kuketi. You'll always put it as one word, kuketi, which means to sit. Kuketi is sit. Are you together, Brother Coco?
Yes. Excellent.
You realize the spellings of both Katie and Kitty is almost close. Just as the same in English, the spelling for the word sit and sit is also close.
It's the same. In English is sit. Sit is sit.
Yeah, the pronunciation is almost close. But here now we will not say. We will say in Kiswahili for sitting, we'll say Katie. Well, for the sit, we'll say Kitty. That's the difference.
Okay. So just to give context, because where we come from as Bantu, we didn't have a living room the way the living room is nowadays. So we had to borrow some of those words, and we didn't have the table. But the seat we had, and in my language is situlo. And in other cases where people just had hewn out what do you call this again? There is a plant which grows and people make the seed out of that. It's called khala in Sotho. I'm forgetting the English name now. It's like what you see in the deserts. It goes in the desert. But let's take for instance when we have
mirage.
Pardon?
You say when you see in the desert, you mean the mirage?
No, it's a plant. It's a type of plant. I'll find it. Don't worry about it. But what they did to make trees, they make trees like a tree trunk. A tree trunk, you cut the bottom of that tree trunk and make a seat. The Africans will do that. So they call it after that. Call it khala. Yeah.
We saw one in the museum, did we not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In our language, we'll call it tool.
What do you call it?
Tool. Tool, which is Situl.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's closer to our language then. Situlo. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see,
and
your language is Bantu, mine is Nylon.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Nice. It's very close. Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So to sit is hudula. So everything for us, what you guys use as KU, we use that as HO. Ho. You say ku, we say ho.
So our language, the word to sit will be bed, which is the word for bed. The way you pronounce the bed is the way in our language it will be bed.
Okay.
So we say bed, it means sit from the word bed. So it's very important that now we follow the trail of it. It's like a story. So we've come to the Nyumbani. As I've said, we've opened the door. We've found the padlock. We've used the key. We've gone to the living room. We have now a seat, and we have a table, and we have sat actually to make it. We'll say to make it. To make it. which means we have sat. To make it is a group of us. So we've sat down. Now here, let's start looking at the words that will be, things that will be possibly be found in the living room. Let's get to that now. What are some of the things you'll find in this living room? Once you've got a bed, you've sat there, or you've got a seat, you've sat, there's a table there, from the table, what else will you find in that sitting room? There are a few words.
Spoon.
Yeah, they use. Of course, spoon might be in the kitchen or it might be in the living room. It depends. But we'll go now to those. So you'll find the word spoon, for example, anywhere. But if the food was ready, you'll find the spoon and maybe the meal on the table. So spoon in Kiswahili is kijiko.
Kijiko.
Get yourself a spoon. What else can you find?
Knife.
What? Knife.
Knife.
Yeah, you can find knife, which in Kiswahili is kisu.
Kisu.
Kisu. You can equally find a plate. For example, if there's a plate on the table, you'd find a plate, which will be part of the kitchen things, but you can still find it. So the plate, for this case, will be sahani.
Sahani.
Sahani. What else? Of course, nowadays there's what you call TV. Back then we didn't have the TV so much, but the Swahili have developed the word for TV. TV in full is television. Before, Swahili could have the word, no, Kiswahili is also a growing language. It's not like a full language. So before they could call it television. Television, but nowadays there's a modern word called runinga. So runinga will still means television. A funny thing, the word radio, you can find a radio. We don't have the hoofers and the whatever. Maybe those are things that are coming, and so you have now to look for the new names for what is merging. Because you see, the languages were old. Languages are so old enough before the new things came in. So when new things come in the market, the people have to sit down and maybe come with the new name. So if you find the radio, which was the usual radio, Swahili will still call it radio, just as it is. Swahili just call it like that, radio. But for this case, it will be re, not ra. Radio. Of course, there are new words that are still coming up to refer to radio, but when you say radio, is okay. But you see, like how they add the word television to television. So the radio word is still radio, but there are another three words that are still being worked on to come up with proper words. Because what we're doing, I said, is we borrow. But the moment we borrow the word, we're trying to make them, like you see in television, we are trying to make television. The Swahili, those who come up with the words, still go further enough to have a distinct language that is not being seen like a copy pasting. So words are still being actually worked on to come up with the new vocabularies to refer to some other few things. So let's say you have the radio and the rest. You'll have a clock, maybe a clock on the board, maybe a clock or a watch. Let's call it a clock because the living room can have some clock. So the clock, Swahili didn't have, Swahili would refer to them as watch. Clock and watch, Swahili will just call it watch. Of course, there's different.
Yeah.
But we'll call it saya or uta. Yes?
It's
Coco?
the same in Institute. The same is watch. Watch is watch.
Yeah. So the word in Swahili is saa. Saa. So for the watch, which we know is for the hand, Swahili will call it saa ya mkono. So the word mkono here, saa ya mkono. Saa ya mkono. Mkono. Now the word mkono is hand. Your hand is called mkono, hand. That's hand. So you want to call it the watch. What you call the watch, we know watch is what we put on our hand, you see? Is that right? That's what we refer to watch, what you put on our hand. So Swahili will call it the saa ya mkono, which means the watch for the hand, because it doesn't have the distinct word like a clock. But the one for the wall, because the clock we know is always the wall clock, you see? The majority of the clock we know is either the wall clock. So we will call it saa ya ukuta. So ukuta, for this case, means a wall. But you use the saa. So this is a wall clock or a wall watch, whatever. So Swahili will call the clock saa ya ukuta, which means they know that watch is being put on the wall. So they know it's the clock. That watch is being put on the wall. So they call it saa ya ukuta. So Swahili know in terms of watches or clock, they either know they are where you can put them two places. You can either put them on your hand, that will be the saa ya mkono, or you put it on the wall, that will be saa ya ukuta. The word saa also sometimes connotes to the word, it sometimes also means time. Brother Coco?
Yes, brother.
Do you have the distinct word for a watch and a time?
Yes, we do. We do, because time is nako. And for watch, we use tupa nako, which means the one that points the time, tupa nako. But with the present day generations, mostly will just use watch. They just say watch, and then say watch yalezo, which means the hand watch, or watch yaleboting, the watch for the wall.
Yes. So you see, when I was bringing the word saa, also meaning time, because you'll ask me, yes, I have a watch, but you'll ask me, what is the time? You see, English now is introducing another thing called time. What is the time? In reference to the watch or the clock, you see?
Time.
But Swahili would ask you, saa ngapi? They will ask you saa ngapi to mean what's the time or what's the watch. Whether you want to call it properly, but what's the time? So he will say saa ngapi. So if you want to ask somebody what's the time or what time, I'll ask what time or what's the time, you'll use the word saa ngapi. So when you ask me saa ngapi, then I have to tell you what time. So you see, they still use the word saa, still to refer the word time, and it's the same word saa for the clock. They call it saa ya ukuta to mean clock. While for the hand watch, they call it saa ya mkono to mean a hand watch. But to them, saa is a time. So they'll ask you saa ngapi, which means what time. So basically, so it is just calling it like the time for hand and the time for the wall. So the time for the hand is called a watch in English. The time for the wall is called a clock. What shows the time? That's why now Swahili will ask you saa ngapi to means what time or what's the time. Anybody lost so that I can elaborate there further?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So then let's move on a bit. There are so many other things that may be in the living room that are now coming up. You see, these are modern things. But basically, this could be the traditional things you'll find in the room. You'll find a table, you find a seat, you can find a spoon, a mug, or anything like that. Or you can find a mug, which actually is not on the table, but should be on the kitchen. The word mug,
No.
cup,
Mug, cups, mug.
in Swahili, it will be kikombe. Kikombe. So kikombe will mean a mug or a cup. Kikombe, kikombe.
Kikombe.
Yeah, kikombe. So those are the essentials in a house. If you go to a house, you must get some cup or a mug. You have to get some spoon. You have to get some plate.
Glass to drink in as well as cup? Or would you not make that distinction? Is it still
I'm not sure. It will just be they'll call it kikombe ya kioo, which means a glass. Kioo is like a glass thing. So they say that's the ya kioo. But I think they're still working on the new word is kikombe ya kioo. So the kioo here is almost like a mirror. The word kioo is used for mirror, but they want to refer to it as that glass thing. Because the glass, still Swahili call it glassy. They're still working on the right distinctive word for the word glass. Because you see, glass was not there before. Like coming across a cup of glass or a cup made of glass, which is now, it wasn't there in that traditional style setups. Yeah, so they'll just call it kikombe. But now glass, you see, is still being called glassy. Because the glass concept was not that there traditionally. We always know that the cup will be made out of clay or sand or something like that, you see? And that was done, and we'll call it kikombe. It was just a mug. So this other alternative makeup of how you can make a cup or anything else was not there traditionally. So we knew a cup is a cup, and that cup we know is made up of clay, soil, or whatever, or sand, or whatever it's made up of. So this aspect of now making a glass, which is not a cup, but it's the same like a cup, but now using some glasses, was not there traditional. And that's why they're still working even to get the word glass. They still call it glassy. Are we together there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get to these rooms. So as we've said, we have sebuleni or sebule as a living room. Let's get to the word chumba. It will be very important for us here, chumba, which is chumba. For this case, the word chumba means room.
It is from French, chambre.
Oh, it's charm, meaning a room.
Yeah, chambre, yeah. Chumba.
Yeah. So chumba, charm. Sometimes back, remember I was saying there were the noun class of KV. So where the chumba is one room. If you make it to plural, it will be vyumba. Vyumba. So the single for a room, the single context of a room is chumba, which is one room, while vyumba means rooms.
Okay.
Rooms, vyumba. Now let's get further a bit. So we have, for example, living room, which is sebule, is part of, we can call it chumba. Some people could call it, let's now get the chumba here. So we have, for example, you see my screen, you have the word called vyumba vya kulala. Can you see it? After the word sebule, Msamiati, not the blue one.
On the left-hand side.
Yes. You have the word vyumba vya kulala. Can you see it?
Yeah.
The word vyumba vya kulala, it means bedrooms. Bedrooms. Now, the reason why I call it vyumba vya kulala, the word that's very important in this text is kulala. And kulala in Swahili means to sleep.
Okay.
Kulala, to sleep. So Swahili record to the room for sleeping or rooms for sleeping. You see? Vyumba are rooms. So these are rooms for sleeping via kulala, rooms for sleeping. Now, English don't call it rooms for sleeping, they call it bedrooms.
Mm.
So that's why Swahili call it vyumba vya kulala. They knew there were rooms for sleeping. But in English context, they'll say bedrooms. I don't know, because there's a bed in that room, so that's why they call it bedrooms. Anyway, so because you see, when they're introducing the word bed and rooms, in African setup, it doesn't mean that there must be a bed there for it to be a room for sleeping. We could have our normal traditional things we could put down there for sleeping. Coco, what were they in your setup? Because it was not a must for you to have a bed. In fact, bed is a modern concept.
Mat.
You could have a mat.
Yeah, it could be a mat. Or what else? Or raised platform where people just put some stuff on, raise the platform and make the bed out of it. But I don't think they call the bed in the present sense of the bed nowadays.
Yeah. So you see, English now call it rooms for sleeping because there's a presence of a bed, so they call it a bedrooms. But Swahili could call it based on what's its purpose. That room's purpose was to sleep, so you'll call it rooms for sleeping, which is vyumba vya kulala. If this vyumba vya kulala, if it was one room, because this is the plural part of it, you cannot singular sleeping, but you can single, of course, vyumba vya. And if it is in single, you'll say chumba cha. Instead of vyumba vya, you'll say chumba cha kulala, which will be bedroom now, not bedrooms, bedroom now. Chumba cha kulala. Room for sleeping. Vyumba is rooms for sleeping, while chumba is a room for sleeping. Then there's other aspect, like now you see we have the word chumba. They are using the word chumba cha wageni. You see it on my left. The next word after vyumba vya kulala, there's the word chumba cha wageni. If you take this directly to English translation, it means visitor's room.
Spare room.
Yeah, so you can either call it stay room, as Brother Kwame said.
No, spare. No, spare. Spare. Additional room. Spare. S-P-A-R-E.
Spare room.
Yeah.
Okay, but for this context, if you translate direct, it means room for visitors. So that's what Swahili translation means. The word wageni is a visitor. So you have to learn that word, wageni.
Wageni.
Wageni means visitors. If it is only one visitor, which is the singular part of it, you will not say wa. You replace the word m. So you say mgeni.
Okay.
So mgeni is a visitor. While wageni are visitors. Then we have another room here is called chumba cha vyombo. The word chumba cha vyombo means room for utensils. That's the direct translation. English will call it
room for utensils, cupboard.
Room for you. No, it's a pantry.
Pantry.
Oh no, that's for food in it.
Where you keep utensils in there, you know.
Drawer.
utensils can still be found on the kitchen or anywhere else where they're
It's either
cooking.
drawer, yeah. It's drawer or pantry, but I think it's your drawer.
No, the drawer.
DRAW.
Now I know what you're talking of. You're talking of the word drawer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But this drawer, for this case, is not a room. There are actually some setups of things that have been either hooked somewhere or down. That things that are either made of some wood for you to keep the utensils inside. You see?
Okay, maybe cupboard.
They're like cupboard. They're like cupboard. But this cupboard, now this one is for utensils. You see, that way you have it's like even cupboard. Sometimes in our Swahili setup, we could still have the utensils in the cupboard. Yeah, because I remember when we were young, we could have one cupboard where we put. There's a place for utensils. Up there, we could put some other things. You see, but the lower part we could put utensils. But here we are referring to a room, not a small cupboard, a whole room. So this is a room for utensils, which can be like a kitchen. Because in the kitchen, you'll find the drawers for utensils and some other things for cooking, you see? Basically, most of the utensils will be found on the kitchen. Because the kitchen will not be purely just room for only the gas for cooking alone. That the gas is there in that room is a kitchen. So you'll have to bring the other utensils from other side to come and cook. No. Basically, it's
cooker?
Yes?
No, I was saying cooker.
Yeah, like a cooker. It's not only for a cooker. So this room could actually mean the kitchen. But the kitchen in Swahili is now called jikoni. Jikoni.
Okay, so
Jikoni. But the word jiko, let me screenshot this. The word jiko is like jikoni. Jiko is like the cooking whatever. The cooking, we could call it but that time we were using jiko. Jiko you see those where we could put the what do you call it? Charcoal for cooking. There's these things like a stove. It's not a normal stove, not the stove that uses paraffin. There's this one that uses the charcoal. We call it jiko.
Okay, like a barbecue?
No. Oven and hob.
Yeah, like a hole. No, the white men now have something like a hole like some structure where you put the either the firewood and anything else, and then you get the the fire coming out of it. So in African setup, we could use the firewood, and where there were firewood, we could make some 3 stones. Those 3 stones is where we could put what you call, in Swahili, we call them sufuria. Whatever we put on for the food on. Sufuria is also English, is it?
Say it again?
The word sufuria is what you cook on, what you used to cook, where you put your food on and then you put them on the gas.
Right, the
Stove.
stove.
What?
A stove. Cooking stove.
No, the cooking stove is now where the heat comes from. That's where the heat comes from, the cooking stove. Now, Swahili could call it jiko. The word jiko. So where the cooking stove was to be found is what they call jikoni. Because we know that's where the kitchen came in. Because where the jiko for cooking was to be found, the cooking stove was to be found, it should be the place where the cooking takes place. So that's where the word jikoni came in. So the kitchen aspect. So when you talk of jikoni, is where the jiko is stored. Are you together? Where the jiko, that cooking stove is stored, we call it jikoni. Or the cooking stove is called jiko. So jiko could be either jiko, that means if there are many, or a meko. So it's plural, we could get the word meko or jiko. So meko could be sometimes now what I was talking of, the 3 stones. In our traditions, we could cook either outside in the field, like outside the house. We could not sometimes, there are some people who don't cook inside the house if you go to the villages. So they put the 3 stones there, they dig some hole a bit, and they put the firewood, and they put the food on top of the 3 stones, then they start cooking.
Absolutely. With a big black pot.
Yeah, big black pot. But now we don't use pot currently. What do you use currently for cooking? Not pots, where you can cook your food. What do you call it? By then we're using pots. Currently, Swahili will call it
Your oven.
Swahili, use oven, but Swahili now call it sufuria. So sufuria, let me show you what the sufuria means. I think that's even English word, will still call it sufuria. Let me show you what sufuria is.
I doubt that is an English word. It sounds bad. Let's see.
You see, Swahili English call it pot, but it's not a pot. You know, the pot is the traditional concept. You remember the pot? The pot is something different. Let's see the images. You see what it shows. You see, is this a pot?
You're not sharing the screen.
Can't see the image.
Okay, let me show the new screen so that you can see it.
Yeah, that is a pot. Cooking pot.
Okay. If what you call the cooking pot, then we call it sufuria in Swahili.
Sufuria.
Sufuria.
But you see, silverware? Is that from silverware?
What?
It must be from silverware, sufuria.
I'm not sure. But all these types, we call them sufuria. Either the modern types or the old types, all these any pots for cooking, we call them sufuria.
Yeah, I think it comes from silverware. Sufuria, silverware.
But there's the traditional pot, which we were calling it nyungu. Which is this one.
Okay.
So this is the one that we are using traditional pot.
The clay pot.
And then you call it tray pot. Now you see, it's a category of pots, but Swahili doesn't have it as a pot. So Swahili has this as nyungu, and the other one I've shown you as a sufuria. Totally 2 different names. Now this one, Brother Coco, if you see the first picture, this one called nyungu, June 2015.
Yeah.
This is the one we used to cook with those old days.
So I think we use that to carry water.
Yes, we could use it. We could use it to carry water.
Yeah. I guess.
To store water in the house, either for water to, because it could be cold enough. If you put water there, it will be cold enough.
Yeah.
We could use it also sometimes to store some other cereals or anything else. But you could also use it to cook, either especially to boil some maize.
It's hard.
Yeah, we'll use this to boil some maize or some beans, something like that. Or some even could still use it to make ugali. You know the ugali?
Yeah, maize meal.
The maize flour, the green maize, we call it ugali. So this is now the nyungu in Swahili. It's not called a sufuria. Now English has it as a different category of pot, you see? You still use the word pot.
Yeah.
But Swahili now has it as nyungu. NYNGU. This should be the toughest word to pronounce for Brother Glero. It's nyungu. Nyungu. So this one is nyungu. But the other one I showed you before, this one is a sufuria. Are we together up to there?
So do you have a black one, or you don't have the steel, black steel one? Because that's what.
There's even this one. Can you see where my arrow is?
Yeah, that what we have has three legs. It's a three-legged pod, three-legged steel pod.
Oh, that's like a jiko.
Oh, Paola.
Now,
We call it
now, if you get the difference of the word I was talking about, this is now the jiko. So jiko is this where we could cook at, what you used to cook. Now, from this word jiko is where the word jikoni came in, which is the kitchen. In Swahili, jikoni. So jiko is what you used to cook. So where it was stored is where we call it jikoni. So where you could find this is at the jikoni, which means at the kitchen. So that's how the word for kitchen in Swahili came in, jikoni, which means where you find this. So this is even a modern one. There's the three-legged one Brother Coke is talking about, the old one. These are modern jikos.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the jikos, but these are modern ones. So they were the old ones, the three-legged ones. Let me see if we can have one.
The one there on the right, wasn't that it?
This one. This one here.
No, previous picture. Well, that's one, yeah? With the fire underneath and the combination.
Yeah, it's a combination. No, I was talking to something close to this, if you can see it. This one on the right side, where there's where my cursor is. So this is almost a modern one. This is an enclosed one. So before we didn't have this enclosed, but you see a pot is here, the black pot here. There's a black pot here, if you can see it. It won't go to the right place. Let me check if it will go there. Now you see the old woman is using it here. Here. So this is almost a modern type of it. This is already like this is like a built one. It's an enclosed one. So before we used not to have this enclosed one. It was an open one where you put the stones. But in modern setup now it's enclosed a bit. It's like more modern, like how you see it here.
I see.
Yeah. So that's what I really needed to show in terms of jiko and jikoni. Like you see now what this woman is using here. Of course, she's using something like the jiko thing, this woman here, but you can see some stones around it. Yeah, where it's written jipoa. So now we have those three words. Now it's this one now. Let me get it. This one here. Can you see where my cursor is?
Yeah.
Now you see the stones.
Yeah.
And the firewood here.
Yeah.
That's what you meant by 3 stone.
Yeah, these are the 3 stones. But these 3 stones now, you see, this whatever you call sufuria, which you are calling a pot, is a smaller one. So in our traditional setup, we could make the stones closer. So there's even a proverb that says that you cannot cook if there's if one stone is missing. So it was showing like unity of the stones. So these three stones have to be brought closer to each other, like in a triangular shape. Two in front, and one at the back. Then you put your pot on top of it so that it elevates the pot a bit. And then you cannot put your firewood below it. So that it can then actually generate the heat to the pot. Then sometimes back, if it's to avoid when there was more weather, more wind, because the wind could actually interfere with the fire. What they used to do, they take the what do you call the cow. Let me see the right one. Actually, it's the waste from the cow. The waste from the cow. What do you call it, the right one?
Cow dung.
Cow dung. Yeah, cow dung. So they'll take the cow dung, then smear around the three stones so that it encloses it. So there's no wind that can penetrate the cow dung around the three stones so as to interfere with the fire. So the cow dung could act as a protection. So you smear it around with the cow dung. Now the modern type, you see now they have actually made some clay to make it fully closed, so that there's no wind interfering with the pot. Yeah. So now that's the jiko. Then there's the sufuria and the nyungu. So the nyungu is the pot, the old traditional pot, the black one, where we could use to carry water. That's the nyungu. Well, the sufuria is this pot now, this small one, which is on fire here. Then the jiko, it can either be this traditional three stone or these are the modern ones that are now coming in, including even the cooker and the rest, oven and the rest, even including the oven. Those are now modern jikos, you see? Yes. So I think that has been extensive a bit. Permit me to go a bit towards the end. So we will go to other aspects. We will discuss all this: dirisha, kisu, mlango, kifuli. Now, we know the word kitanda. If you go to the bedroom, we have come across the word kitanda sometimes back in our class. You remember that?
Yeah.
And kitanda was just a bed. Another thing is what is missing. Kitanda is bed. So that you'll find it in the bedroom. You'll find kitanda there. We call it bed. And then we have what we call kabati, which is the wardrobe or the drawer. You can either call it drawer or wardrobe. It's called kabati. Let me get for you the right spelling for it, because there are two aspects of kabati here. You'll have either the drawer kabati or the wardrobe one. But let me get you the clear picture of kabati.
What did you say Meko was?
Meko was the same as the cooking place.
Okay. So Meko is another word for jikoni.
Oh, yes, there is another word for jikoni. That's it.
Okay. All right. Again, before we go to the bed, one thing which I want to raise with everyone so they can see the difference is that when you have chumba, the possessive pronoun used there is cha. So it becomes chumba cha. And then when there are many, it becomes vyumba vya. So the possessive pronoun is changing with the noun it's describing. So there will be lots and lots of that. If you remember, Nyumbani, it was Nyumbani ya. So I think that's the complexity of the Bantu languages. The nouns fall in different classes, and then the possessive pronouns also have to follow the nouns.
Yeah, the noun has different classes. That's I think what I mentioned before, because you see, like when you talk of chumba, which is CH as a singular aspect, in plural it is vyumba. While for a human being, it would be mtoto M for a singular representation, while watoto WA for plural.
Absolutely.
And that should be applied even for the word mutu and watu. Mutu, watu. So I wanted to show you kabati, which is available in the rooms as the last aspect of what's missing here. Let me show you kabati. Can you see it?
Cupboard.
Okay.
Cupboard. Children's
Raka.
table.
Raka. Cupboard.
It's a cabinet.
Cabinet. Yeah. Raka.
Cabinet.
These would be in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah. In the kitchen. Yes.
Now, not all of them were in the kitchen. Some could be found even in the living room. Cause
Yeah. That one, the second one is for the living room, but the one second from the right is for the kitchen. Yeah, that one. That's for the kitchen.
that's why you see the Swahili has it like kabati ya vyombo. You see, kabati ya vyombo. The word vyombo are utensils, so they indicate this is actually a
utensil,
for utensils.
Oh, with the drawers. Yeah, and you got your drawers to put your utensils in.
But there's other ones like these ones where you can put the clothes.
Wardrobe.
A wardrobe. Still, so you call it still kabati. Now I hope you're getting the difference. I think, Brother Kwame, we saw a certain wardrobe. Was it the wardrobe from which community in the museum?
We're talking to Brother Glenn Roy. I think.
Yeah, Glenn, can you remember there was a wardrobe? Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Because was this in the upstairs or that? No, it was in the lower level, wasn't it?
It was they call it was the Arabic or whatever. The one that was coming
inside the room. There were a number of things, including that. Yeah,
where the Muslims the Muslims were putting utensils.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
The Muslims were putting utensils or any of their carriage or the luggages they wanted to transport. They were putting in those locks. Yeah. It was like a drawer or something like that.
Yeah, it was a chest, a case, traveling case, but like a what would you call it? A chest, where you have a large container, and when you open it up, yes, it had all these layers. But it was near the museum, near the goods of one of the first minister or first secretary or something. He was an Asian guy.
It was something close to this.
Something like that, yeah. But there was also one on the floor, one that they would transport, yeah. So yes. This is obviously in a room or in a kitchen. But there was also one that you could transport with all the containers, yeah?
Yeah, you could put your containers in and then transport them with.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a massive wooden case.
Yeah, I have it. I wanted to show you that so that you show it's like the modern wardrobe you have today. This one they were using it also to put utensils sometimes back. It is this one, if you can see it. Let me share it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Very strong, very well built.
They could open this. Once they open this, then they put either the utensils or any luggage they wanted to put inside here, and then they lock it. Yeah. So they could put it on the ship. They travel over here. Then once they are in the on the shores, they can open it and take out their things. So this was used by the Arabs during the monsoon wind trade, the Indian Ocean trade that was guided by the winds. But you see, you have also calabash, things like this one. Was it a calabash or what? This one. Yeah. We could use it for milk. Yeah. We could put milk inside, or this other side on the wall. We could also use it to take. In my tradition, we use it to take porridge. You see this half-carved one in the wall here.
Yeah.
our own tradition, it was used like a cup, like the mug. This was the traditional mug, this one. We didn't have the current mugs or the cups, so we could use this one. So if there was any food like porridge, we could take porridge, not tea, porridge. So you put the porridge here, then you give an elder, and then you use this now to take your porridge, this one.
So that's a gourd. Is it gourd? G-U-D.
Gourd.
I think how it's pronounced. I mean how it's spelled.
Yeah, it's a goldie.
Yeah,
Now,
that is what we used to use as well. You know,
yeah,
I think.
But you see this round one, the one that is full complete, this one. This one will be used to store milk, especially for other traditions like the Maasai community. They put milk inside here, then they allow that milk to stay for a longer period of time so that you can have actually not the fresh milk, what do you call it?
Fermenting.
Yeah, fermented milk. So it could ferment inside this. Then you take it. So these are part of, we can call them the traditional utensils. These are the traditional utensils. Well, the current one are actually the modern utensils, but those were the traditional utensils that we could use back then. And you see, even they had a table here, the traditional tables are here, you see? So they had a lot of those things, which I'll try to check if we can get any. But basically, I think that was very important to show you. There's a lot of documents that we found of actually artifacts that are available on that library, that museum, some even from across the continent. You remember Brother Elder Coco, Elder Glory?
Yeah. No, I remember.
From as far as from West Africa. Yeah, so basically, I think that's enough for today. I want to just show you one thing that we found there that's also related to our other traditions we found around. This one was from West Africa. Was it?
Can't remember, but that's no, I don't want to guess. I can't remember, but it looks like a voodoo
mask. This is like a woman, how the woman could keep her head or her hair, pales or whatever. And this was like a symbol for a woman goddess or something like that.
Yeah, but the numbers of things she has to deal with.
Yeah, but you see some pot here, but another type of a pot here, down here. Yeah. So these were all traditional aspects that we could find in our own traditions. So with that, I think we are okay with this. So in case there's any question in regards to some of the house issues that we have to deal with today, the vocabularies surrounding the house, if you will have sometimes, maybe some other time I will show you some of because I still keep some of the pictures of what you went through or what you found in the libraries that may be of interest to some of us. Because I think some people need to know some of these things are available and maybe some of them do not have their clear history. But if you put them virtual, I think we are asking that they be put on virtual aspect where people can just access them from wherever they are. Yes.
And some of the stool, I think what Coco mentioned, there was a stool that we saw, I think in the desert.
Let me check if I can get the stool. There was a stool somewhere. Let me check if I can get the stool. But there was a stool, as you're saying. These were the drums. Let me check if I can get this stool. But I remember there was a stool.
Or was that the thing that he rests their head on while they're sleeping? I think that's what I might be thinking of.
Not really. Let me show you. There was a stool somewhere. I can show it to. I don't know if this was it. This is like a drum. Let me show one here. This was like a drum that you could use sometimes back in our traditions to play the drum for either during the times for war or something like that. But there's a drum here. This is like a drum. If you can see it, let me see.
Professional training.
but struggle running a business.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
This was more of like a drum. Of course, the stool Brother Coco was talking about was also like this, but with some legs, the 2 or the 3 legs, but they were also somehow shorter.
No, that's more like it. That big one there. That's how
Yeah,
we carve
this
it
big
out
one.
and make make that a seat.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think this is what it is. So these are still available in some of the libraries here in Kenya, and they pass across several communities. It's not only for Kenyan community; they are from different communities across the continent. Just that most of them either are not aware that they exist here, or they have not come back to collect them. So I think that's enough. We will have to stop here and then maybe look forward to the next vocabularies, because I want us to finish essential vocabularies that are very important before now we get to the main now sentences and pronunciations, the reading and the construction of sentences. So so far, as I've said, we've covered the traveling aspect, we've covered the school aspect, we've covered the family, the baba, the relationship between the family, the baba, the mama, the uncles, and everything else. We've covered so far the mode of traveling, of course. Now we've covered the animals and we've covered some few issues related to the house. I don't think, I'll check if there's any vocabulary that will be essential before now we move to start either constructing some few sentences or some few words that we can learn. First of all, the reading of the words, then we move to constructions, also construction of some sentences. But I don't think there's any vocabularies that are so essential that might be missing. Maybe if you go to the money aspect, because we'll be dealing much also with money, from money, change of money, or money in different aspects, or even the bags that you can use to carry the money. So we'll check the banking system. From the bank, the money, because that's what most of us interact with mostly. Either when you give money or whether you go to a bank or any of such sort. We'll try to look for some vocabularies related to that, and then I think we'll be good to go. Because if you have the house things, you have the animals, domestic animals, you have, everything within the house, the traveling aspects, how you can call a vehicle, anything else for you to travel. Now, issues to do with money. Then now you're good to now start having some proper sentences now being constructed. Beyond saying kitanda, now how do you say that kitanda? Or I want to buy this kitanda. So that's where now we need to move to, so that you can construct some simple sentences, and then we can make them to some complex sentences as we move along. Thank you for this session. Brother Coco, do you have anything else?
No.
Santi.
So just a reminder, they can find Kiswahili now on Duolingo, and Duolingo is free. It's a free app that you download on your phone.
Yes. Did you share it in the WhatsApp group?
No, not yet. I'll see if I can share it.
Yeah. Can you see if you can share it so that they can have also the basic words there as we move along?
But what I shared was a website that has all, main languages around the world, and there will be resources there for Kiswahili as well.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.